the must win for somebody in this particular game is the Dallas Cowboys taking on the mighty, that's right, I said mighty Atlanta Falcons. If you look at the rosters, look at the schedules right now, the Atlanta Falcons right now are sitting at 5-3 on the season. They are first place in the NFC South with a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they own the tiebreaker. So it's like a game and a half. I'm not for sure how the math, but it's a 1 game in the win column and like a 2 game in actual life because they own the tiebreaker, right? The Cowboys are sitting at 3-4 on the season. The Cowboys are in third place in the NFC East. They are playing bad football right now. Everybody's saying fire everybody, bench everybody, do this, do that, yada, yada, yada. When we look at the schedules moving forward, the Atlanta Falcons play the division foe in the New Orleans Saints next week. Then they play the Denver Broncos. Then they play the Chargers. And then the Vikings in the next 4 weeks after they do play the Dallas Cowboys. And they are coming off a huge win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in week 8. When we look at the Dallas Cowboys, they're on a 2-game losing streak. They're not playing good football. Fire everybody says everybody, right? After this game versus the Falcons, they play a team that's up and coming in the Philadelphia Eagles. They play a team that we're going to talk about later in the Houston Texans. Then they play the Commanders. And then they play the New York Giants. Their schedule does not get easy at all. So when we sit back and we look at this Week 9 matchup, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Dallas Cowboys, we got to ask you guys the question. I got to ask you guys this question. Who needs this game more? Who has to come out? And this is a must-win situation. This is a game-changing win on one way or the other for which team? The Dallas Cowboys or the Atlanta Falcons? When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they are supposed to be good. Look at the roster. Look at years past. Look at history. They're supposed to have a good regular season. They're supposed to make it to the playoffs and then get beat. They're supposed to be a 12-13 win team leading the East. Well, they're not. But most importantly right now, the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons have to win this game. This is a must-win game in Week 9 for the Atlanta Falcons. They have playoff dreams. They have playoff aspirations. And if they want to make a deep playoff run, they cannot lose to a team like the Dallas Cowboys. They cannot lose to teams like the, who else they got coming up here? They cannot lose to the Broncos or the Chargers or the Vikings. The Vikings have to, the Falcons have to make a statement this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. And if they want to make a deep playoff run, they need a home game or 2. And it starts right now by beating the Dallas Cowboys. It starts this week by going to 6-3, getting a 2-game lead or a 3-game lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they have to have at least 2 playoff games to really make that deep run. And it starts this week when they go out there and they're a must-win situation versus the Dallas Cowboys. Because I do not like their schedule moving forward. The Broncos and Chargers and Vikings, guys, those are really sneakily good teams and teams that could come up and bite the Falcons in the butt really, really bad. And we all know how Kirk Cousins and the Vikings situation happened. So the Vikings are like, hey, you know what? It's time, baby. So, guys, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys game, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, who needs this game more? Who needs this game more and why? Let's go ahead and jump over into the comments and see what the people are saying. Let's see what get the people going. Laura says, go Falcons, and then she puked in her mouth a little bit. Laura is saying, go Falcons, because she loves her some Kirk Cousins, but she's puking in her mouth anymore. It says, nope, can't root for either, though. She can't root for either team, but the Falcons have to win this game. The Falcons are in a must-win situation. And Laura, let me ask you this question. Why do they need this win more? Why are they in the must-win situation? Is it because of playoff chances? Can they not play a playoff game on the road, right? They're in a dome. They play a lot of fair weather games. I would hate to see the mighty Kirk Cousins have to go into, Green Bay in snow and try to compete. I don't know if he can, to be honest. James Frank, my man, Mr. Browns fan himself, he knows all about trying to build a culture, and he says the Falcons got to do it. The Falcons are in a must-win situation because they're building it for the culture. He says the Falcons are on ground level. They're building a culture. And this win over the Dallas Cowboys puts up the first story of this culture that they're trying to build. Puts up the first culture. And you know what? I agree. I agree with all the collusion that is happening, all of the past flunkings of the Falcons, right? When back when they got the tight end Pitts, right? People are like, oh, Pitts and Drake London going to do good things. They haven't done shit until this season, right? Is it because of Kirk Cousins? Is it because of coaching? Or is it because of the culture? I don't know. This year, they're performing. They're doing good things. And if you lose to a team that you're supposed to beat, if you lose to the Dallas Cowboys this week, it might all be for nothing, right? Because this is a game that could really derail your season, to be honest. If you are the Atlanta Falcons, right? You have beaten good teams, if not great teams, so far this season. They have beaten the Bucs, right? They battled the Pittsburgh Steelers week number 1. Brand new offense, brand new quarterback, new system, whatever, right? You can blame it on whatever you want, but they ultimately fell short of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We see now how good the Pittsburgh Steelers actually are. They've beaten the Eagles. They've beaten the Bucs twice. They lost to the Seahawks, yes. But this, James, I think you're right. I think this is a season-defining game for the Atlanta Falcons. This is a game that, yeah, if you win 11, 12, 13 wins is not out of the reach, right? But if you lose this game, not only lose this game, but lose at home, losing back-to-back home games, then you have a division foe in the Saints coming up. You travel to New Orleans, tough place to play. You travel to Mile High Stadium, even tougher place to play. Then you welcome the Chargers and then go to Vikings and Las Vegas. This could get out of hand quickly. If the Falcons lose this game, losing 2 other of their last 3, both of them which are home games, this could be a 500 team before we know it. That drops them to 5-4 on the season, and then you lose to the Saints on the road the following week. All of a sudden, you are 5-5. All of a sudden, you're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. This is 100% must win. And culture building, I like what you said about that, James. I like the culture building aspect. I think the culture building is the big thing. Definitely a culture building. Laura says Cousins isn't going to get there looking like he did in the playoffs versus the Vikings, just saying. So Kirk Cousins needs to elevate his game as well. Stop being a little pansy, Kurt. Step up and ball out. And she says, yes, I'm still a Kirk Cousins hater. He's still on my hate list. He's getting no Christmas card from me. No Christmas card from me. So must win. Who needs it more? Actually, obviously the Cowboys need it more, but who must win this game? And this is a season-defining game for the Atlanta Falcons. My eyes will be on this game, watching it, hoping for the best, prepared for the worst, because the Falcons could make some noise. The Falcons could be one of the teams that could come up and bite the Green Bay Packers or the Lions or the Bucs in the playoffs. And it starts this week.